Hi, my name is Devin McNerland and I'm from the Grounds Dock team. We decided today to show you Backstage of Ratatouille the Musical. Now obviously there is no actual backstage, but a popular phrase in theater is that all the world's a stage, and that couldn't be shown more than Ratatouille the Musical. We're going to be showing you the sort of process and how it all came together, and we're really excited to show it to you. Now, where do you see this Ratatouille the Musical going? I know a lot of people have hopes and dreams that it makes Broadway stage. Do you guys share that kind of hope?
That would be amazing, wouldn't it, Cameron? The ability to be involved in something like that.
From social media to the stage, we now know that some of Broadway's biggest names will star in Ratatouille, the TikTok musical. The musical, based on the Disney film, started on TikTok, where users composed original songs as a joke. But that joke has taken off, and a professional production will stream on New Year's Day to benefit the Actors Fund.
My name is Christopher Ruth, and I guess I'm the set designer for the TikTok musical. It never intended to be that. You know, it all started as a joke. The very first Ratatouille set that I built wasn't even really a Ratatouille set. It was more of just a silly joke. I just finished making my Wicked set, and I just put a cutout of Remy into that set model and did a few projections, and that video kind of blew up, so here I am. I'm a theater kid, of course. I went to school for theater. I just always enjoyed going to watch theater, and I think what I enjoyed the most is sets. Sets always fascinated me. How you could be in one location and then in a second you're somewhere else by just a drop coming down or something coming up from the ground. It just always amazed me about how that worked.
My name is RJ Christian. I'm 21 years old. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm here for the holidays, but I usually reside in Brooklyn, New York. I go to NYU. I'm in my senior year in vocal performance, concentration musical theater, and right now I call myself a musical theater actor and performer, as well as a composer and lyricist. Music has been something that's been in my life probably since I was born. I was told that I was humming before I could talk. I've always been musical, and when I started band class in elementary, it was a part of me. It was honestly theater that came later in my life to sort of shake up that mix, but I think that music has really, I can't think of a time in my life where music wasn't extremely important to me.
I was never on TikTok. Cameron actually wasn't on TikTok at the time. But he said to me that there's this thing going around, and we thought, wow, what a great opportunity to utilize what we do already, writing songs, writing musicals, to jump on and try and be a part of something that, especially during this COVID crisis, we can bring light at the end of the tunnel and, join together and create something as a massive global team. So we thought it was, just an amazing thing to do.
I was just scrolling through all the different videos that had been posted of it on Twitter. I was just loving them, and I was like, this is something we've just got to get involved in, because it was just so fun to see what everybody had been posting. It was just such an opportunity. We felt like we just couldn't miss it. So immediately I rang Michael and said, we have to do this.
TikTok, we never really thought as an avenue to take in terms of social media and marketing and, just a platform to get our music out there. But the fact that TikTok is so collaborative, so creative, and people have such a plethora of talent and skills that you see on TikTok, especially in the music side of TikTok, it's incredible. And the passion that people show when they create their videos, and the fact that it doesn't need to be perfectly professionally made, or the production value doesn't need to be great. The talent just comes out in these videos, and we just thought that we need to jump on this in terms of our own creative outlet, you know, for us to be able to release music in that way.
So my name is Nicole DeMayo, and I'm one of the musicians who's going to be playing, or who has at this point, because we did our recording on Sunday, who has played with the orchestra for Ratatouille the Musical. So the way that I kind of got roped into the project is with a group that I've worked with before, the Broadway Sinfonietta, and it's a group that's organized by Macy Schmidt. She does orchestration work and copyist work on Broadway, and it's a group that is primarily women of color, and usually about the size, like I'd say like 18 to 22 of us that are in there, and somebody through Ratatouille got in touch with Macy and Broadway Sinfonietta and said, we want to use your group to come in and do the recording for the musical. So that's kind of how I got brought into it.
My name is Elena Malotko. I also go by Elena Kellett, depending on whether you know me pre or post getting married. I'm a dancer, choreographer, creator out of Toronto, Canada. There was nothing else to fill your time, and there was such a weird gaping hole as a performer, and like I'm very sporadic with it, so I think I was like, I made a bunch of videos that did really well, and then I had other things to do. Yeah. And when I came back, be like, oh, this is fun again. The Ratatouille thing was like everywhere. Everything on my For You page was the Ratatouille musical, and I was like, well, this is hilarious. And then I found Cameron's song and was like, okay, shit, here we go. And I mean, you know, who as a theater kid doesn't love all Disney and Pixar movies? Like, they're meant to be turned into musicals that have the right mix of cheese and authenticity. You know what I mean?
Hi, I'm Brandon Hardy. I've been creating puppets and some light song styling for the Ratatouille musical. Senior year, we went to go do our school musical. They wanted to do Little Shop of Horrors. And I sort of looked and I was like, you know what's cool? The freaking puppets. And they were looking at renting something, and that fell through, and they started to get nervous. They're like, what are we going to do about these puppets? We don't really know. And I just kind of sheepishly raised my hand one day and was like, I'll make them if you want. And so they gave me $300 or something like that to figure it out. And I was like, oh my God, this is the biggest budget I've ever had to work with for anything. And so I kind of looked and I was like, you know, maybe there's something here. Like, maybe you could do that. I seem to recall finding the original video on TikTok by Ejax, the original Remy the Ratatouille song. And I remember watching it and thinking, well, this is silly and delightful. And then somewhere after I found another video, and I remember starting to think, like, is this a thing? And I think by like the second week of October, I was formulating ideas. But I was knee deep in Halloween, and I had already like committed myself to a big series of TikTok videos on how to sort of make Halloween work in the midst of the pandemic. Even though the world is shut down, you know, you want to give people something to engage with, and you want to feel people engaging with it. And I just didn't feel like I had a platform where I could connect with a big, wide audience. And then TikTok, the numbers started racking up, and I was like, maybe I should, you know, commit to this a little more specifically, and maybe I should, instead of just sharing videos of things that I've already made, maybe I should like make some custom stuff.
So I was on TikTok before, like on my personal account, you know, and you know, TikTok kind of blew up during the pandemic, and I think I worked so hard on it, and it actually turned out really good that I wanted to share it with people, because I knew other people were also missing theater as much as I was. And it kind of gave, whenever like I watch my set models like come alive, I felt like I was actually watching theater, and I kind of wanted to share that with everyone. And TikTok was the perfect platform to do that on. I never like meant to go viral or anything. I just wanted to get it out there and let people see like my work. And from my very first post, a lot of people really enjoyed it. But also a lot of people didn't know it was real. They thought it was like a digital rendering. So I had to post a few more videos of like me, like the process of making it, and pretty soon the whole thing just blew up.
So I was on tour, and that was, my housing was provided through this tour because we were supposed to be gone from January 5th until mid-June. So I actually broke my lease because I didn't want to pay for an apartment I wasn't staying in to go on this tour. And when we got let go, we only got about 24 hours notice when they said that the tour was ending. They had kind of said we might have some dates canceled, but then out of nowhere they said every tour in the US is shut down in 24 hours. This is our last show, you know, and then we're going to drive you back to New York. So for me, it was really tough because I just had to find somewhere to live. The most difficult thing has just been kind of waiting for any government help right now for all of us, every musician. After the PUA, that the extra 600 ended, for me personally, I've gotten every week somewhere between 120 and 200 for unemployment, which is barely enough for rent. So a lot of us are just kind of really waiting. Right now, the estimate is September 2021 shows will reopen, which is still a long ways off. So we've all kind of been piecing together work where we can, like this gig that I have now is really, really helpful to get what we can, but it's really, for me, I'm on the younger end of everyone that's affected by this, but I know people who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are also just completely struggling and so unsure of what to do right now.
The beginning of the pandemic was truly rough for me creatively. I wanted to do so many things and I just could not find the motivation to do it. And I had so many dreams. I was like, I'm gonna release an EP during quarantine. I'm gonna write this whole musical. I'm gonna produce this show with my friend. And it really got hard to get into it. And honestly, I think TikTok got me out of that slump. I didn't have to work or labor over it so much. I could just sort of spill out what I was feeling at the moment, and it was good, and people saw it and people liked it, and I could keep creating art that way. And so now I feel like I'm alive again in writing, but those 1 minute songs really broke me out of it.
Beyond the obvious of not having stages and audiences that we can actually physically go to, I think it's made us really consider what it is that's special about what we bring. Because if you take away all the bells and whistles of being in a beautiful venue, potentially having a couple cocktails in your hand, all of those other lovely sensory experiences, you really have to think about what's going to keep people attached to a screen, because that's your only connection.
Well, we've kind of had to change how we work, really, because we usually get together to work and write music, and we'll like sit next to each other, and I'll play the piano, and Michael will have his notebook, and we'll be writing stuff. And it's always been really difficult to do that. At the start, we tried to work through windows and through walls and try and do things like that, and it was crazy. But we did manage to do something. But we've kind of just found that we can just send each other like really short voice memos, and we just can do it like that now. So we've kind of had to figure out a different way of working about it. But it's been really fun, hasn't it, to like just carry on doing it whilst we're so far apart.
Yeah, it's been hard to adapt to everything that, you know, because obviously songwriting, especially when you're two people or multiple people writing a song, the creative energy very much comes from being in the same room. So, and me and Cameron, we've worked very closely together for the past 4 or 5 years now, and we've gotten used to being in that same space to create what we love to create. So adapting, as Cameron said, adapting to something remote and something that, you know, changing something from such a personal, together, collective experience to something that's very separate and very remote has been difficult, but it's been, you know, we didn't want to stop, so we had to make sure that we could create through this pandemic. So it's been tough, but, you know, we found ways to get around it.
We saw a brand new musical trending on TikTok.
We thought that we were too old, but jumped on to see what we could do. Two British boys breaking through. We thought we'd get involved, devoting both our souls to writing a song for ego, to be a part of this new rat show.
On January 1st, 2021, Broadway will say...
Broadway was at our fingertips.
What are we going to do?
We could do Up the Musical.
Remy, you were our baby, but maybe next time, right for the big guy.
Mouse?
Rats, maybe next time.
Every day I wake up and it feels like it was yesterday. It's still very recent. I had been in my studio, you know, earlier that day, remaking my Remy mask. And then I left my studio went upstairs because my studio was in my basement, and all of a sudden later that day, someone's knocking on my door saying we have to get out of the house. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, why? What's going on? They said there's a fire in the basement, and my first thought is, okay, I have to go put out the fire in the basement. And went to go look and see what was going on, and huge black smoke in the basement. So I ran to the first what's it called? Fire extinguisher. Couldn't even think of the word. Where I knew that was in the house, and it wasn't there. Little did I know somebody had already grabbed it and tried. But so I was like, okay, no fire extinguisher. Let me try to grab the phone. I left my phone upstairs, tried to grab the house phone. It wasn't in its holster. So then I was like, you just have to get out. Like, there's nothing you can do. Thankfully, the fire was contained to the basement. It didn't reach the upper floors, and it happens so fast. I could not believe. It felt like a horror movie. The only piece that I have that I made for Ratatouille that happened to not be in the basement at the time was my little Remy that I made that sits on top of the head and holds my hair to look like. I was making a little puppet for Linguini to wear under his hat to just see what that would look like and how you would move it and things like that. I thought about it. I was like, I guess I could keep drawing in my sketchbook and show, things like that on TikTok when I find a moment. But I do still look and say, hey, I have more ideas here. I would still like to keep contributing. Part of my idea about all the rats outside of Remy being made out of trash, part of what I liked about it was that it seemed conducive to the model of like TikTok being accessible to everybody, where I was like, if we went to go do a virtual chorus on a song on TikTok, you could just say to people, hey, go through your trash and like, get a headband and put some ears on it just out of, whatever, and make a nose from something in your garbage and join the virtual rat chorus. I love that this has become something that's giving back to the theater community in this really, difficult time where they need help. So I would love to give to that if there's a way for me to give to that. If not, I'm definitely, I'm gonna have my ticket and sit there and watch. I'm supporting everybody, in whatever way I can, but at the very least I'm doing that. I'm so excited to see it happen.
Something that really started out as a meme. So many people were investing their blood, sweat, and tears in this, and really when I saw costume design, dramaturgy packets, and sets, and lighting, and stage management, and all of this other stuff that is beyond like, oh, this is a cute 1 minute thing. I thought, look, people truly care about this. This is not just a joke anymore. It's real. It's really real. And I really wanted to keep contributing to that, because not only did people think that what I had to say was important, I was craving making something that means something, making music with heart. And so that it was kind of a match made in heaven, because that was the home that I felt like I needed, just something to contribute to that people cared about truly.
I heard the sound from TikTok that Daniel put out, and I was like, oh wow, like someone is being creative and they wrote like a song for this other song this other girl Emily wrote. And I saw some other videos also, people like using that sound, and I was like, this is kind of fun. Like I can use my set model and do something fun with it. And like I said, I just cut out a little thing of Remy and did a few projections, and I thought it was funny, and I was like, hey Daniel, is this what you thought like when you thought about having like Ratatouille the Musical? And from there it kind of like blew up. But it's amazing where it's gone to, and all the creative people on TikTok like also like collaborating and showing off their talents. And I think that's like the coolest part about this, like seeing everyone else like contribute to this TikTok musical that's now been recognized by Disney and Broadway and everyone. I'm just still shocked like it is where it is today.
I really think that there's almost nobody who's going to know exactly what it looks like until it basically premieres, because so many things are being done remotely. So there will be a mix of Broadway stage talent, so people who are actors, actresses, like on stage doing stuff. I know they're bringing in set designers somehow to do some kind of work as well. I think it's going to be like a series of like vignettes, you could say, like little scenes and things like that. So it will be kind of all of the orchestra. We were filmed as well, like with both audio and video. So it will be kind of clips of us playing in the studio with the vocalist performing. And I know that they're going to intertwine the like original videos as well, like the TikTok videos. So like I don't know if those will be shown before or after, if they'll do the whole thing. But they'll probably do just like kind of like a multi-screen type of thing. To have musicians and the stage talent as well kind of coming together for this.
If somebody wrote a song that was killer, it made its way around, and all the people who were interested in that hashtag, it found their way to them. And so all these people, you know, could engage with it and decide like, I don't know how I feel about this one. And then maybe it doesn't, you know, it doesn't take off. There was one song I wrote where I was like, oh, hey, I think I like this. I think this is good. And I made a video and it got a couple thousand views. So I was like, all right, maybe it's not the hit that I thought it was, you know? And that's fine. That's like part of the fun, seeing that, you know, somebody else showed up and was like, I don't know, I have this dumb idea. Maybe it's not interesting. And then they like play this song. And it's like, oh my God, this is great. And then all of a sudden everybody's watching it, everybody's singing it, and everyone's like, this has to be in the show. And so the internet just sort of like, the audience kind of decided what the show was. You know, there was no like hand of God that was deciding what was good, what worked, what should be in, what shouldn't be in. It was the people who were consuming it who were also creating it and also, you know, ultimately kind of directing it. You ended up sort of incidentally with this very democratic way of creating a show.
I went from a closeted set designer to like a Broadway show, a 45-minute Broadway show. I mean, this kind of came out of nowhere, and now they're doing the benefit for the Actors Fund, and they're saying like, we're going to be working with Broadway talent and the Broadway community. There's still information coming about it. I know a little bit, but not too much, so I'm really excited to see what happens. Like, they've already mentioned, like, it's gonna be on Broadway somehow, and, like, the artwork from the Playbill, the girl who created the artwork for Ratatouille the Musical, it has already been on, like, a Broadway marquee, which is amazing. Like, all of these amazing creators are getting recognized for their talents, and I think that's really special about this whole thing. And I'm really excited that it's going to Broadway.
It means something to me that this creative team saw my song and thought, this is good. This is good enough to be picked from this bunch of hundreds of thousands of songs and be put into this full-length thing with a big director and a full orchestra, and it really validated me in my art in that moment. I just felt like dang, I guess I'm good enough. I guess, you know, I after I graduate, there's a career for me. And in all other ways to say, I feel amazing. It's just awesome, and I'm so excited for the event.
The house is open. All actors to places. Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. Tonight's performance of Ratatouille the Musical will begin shortly.